What's up, everybody? Oh my God! Listen, man. Listen, this is all your fault. This is all your fault, man.
It is not, sir.
I had a live stream earlier, man. There was no issues. Every time you come on this show, on my show, there's an issue, man.
Sir, it's not me this time.
I can't hear you now. Oh my God. Hello, Steph. Hello.
Hello.
Hello, Steph. How are you?
Hello.
Hello.
Hello. Can you hear me?
Hello out there. Can everyone hear me, please? It keeps like booting me out. I cannot hear you, Brantley. I cannot hear you, man. You're chopped. Before you were perfect. Listen, everyone, we came on 15 minutes early. Everything was fine. I run to the restroom. He did something. He put some mojo on this computer,
I didn't
and
do
now
it. No,
I can't. Now it's not working. Fine.
not
Now
true,
it's not
sir.
working. Okay.
I can hear you, sir.
All right. Thank you so much for everyone who's here. Please say hello. What's that? Okay, you can hear me. All right. So very much. Thank you so much. Let's say hello to a few people here. Hello, Steph. Once again, is it popping up here? It's very, very slow on my end. I don't know what happened. Dolores, hello from New Jersey. Sandra says she can hear us. Hello to you. My honey. I hear you both. Thank you so much. Hey guys. Hey, how are you? There's 15 people watching. Make sure that you hit that like button. It's not putting everything on the screen for me. So I don't know what's up. Brantley, you there?
Yes. What is going on? What is going on here?
booting me out. I apologize. So, hello to my girl. It's not put. Michelle, thank you so much. A good 24. Majane, I'm so sorry, Majane. I'm so sorry. Lorna from Lorna from New York, thank you so much. Taking attendance. Erica Hansen. On this, then I can see and hear both of you very clearly. I don't know, so we're gonna try to get him back. I definitely apologize for this. Listen, I'm telling you, this is my brother, and I love him a lot. But every time I have him on my podcast, there's an issue, there's a technical issue, and someone has to reboot. Maybe, yeah. If I get kicked out again, I'm gonna reboot. If I get kicked out again, I'm gonna reboot. It's booted me off 3 times. We logged in early, and I don't know what the story is. I don't know what the story is. So, all right. So I'm gonna wait for him to come back. I'm gonna send him a text message now. Oh, here he is.
Is that better?
Yeah. Well, listen, I can hear you now. I don't know if it's me. I changed browsers, so if I get kicked out again, I'm gonna have to reboot my computer. I don't know what's the story. I was on Chrome before.
I'm on Chrome right now.
And now it's got the wheels of death here.
Can you hear me?
Live show.
Can you hear me?
Hear me. I'm gonna reboot. So I'm gonna just stand by. I'm gonna reboot my computer. It's telling me my internet connection is slow, and this is all Dr. Brantley's fault.
No, it's not.
All right. I appreciate you all sticking with me through this. I deeply apologize. And Dr. Brantley, you are disinvited from our show ever again. You cannot come on my show. I love you like a brother, man. I love you, but I don't know what it is, man. But it might now. Michelle and I had a good show. We go to Captain Hunter's podcast, and I think if Michelle remembers, we talked about some crazy stuff at the end. So this might be the government. This might be the government getting back at us, telling me you better watch it this time because we will cut you off. All right. I don't want to waste anybody's time. I hope everybody's got good time there. Man, I had stuff all set up on my computer and all this kind of stuff. So before we get into it, I know that some of you all don't know how to dance. So I want to give some quick dance lessons. And so this is me giving you guys some quick dance lessons here.
Look at my feet. My feet are straight ahead. You don't want to do that. You want to turn your feet out. I'm going to do this backwards. And that's what makes it look like hip hop. What this is with hip hop is everything's down low. It all is in a plie. Hip hop is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, hit, and The more relaxed you are, that's what makes it hip hop head. We have this. Boom, bam. Every time. Or Your hands are always like this. It's what we call popping. Straight. Straight piece. In the African piece, it was like this. But in hip hop, it's like this. See, there's a difference. Hit, flex foot. Then I'm going to tell you another thing.
All right. So if you keep on with this, right, eventually you'll get so good at this that you'll get to the Olympics.
Makes hip hop.
36-year-old Australian breakdancer Rachel Gunn is everywhere right now for her viral last place performance at this year's first ever Olympic breakdancing event.
Hi, I'm Renata Bliss and I'm your freestyle dance teacher.
What most people don't know about Rachel is that she's a college professor with a PhD in the cultural studies of breakdancing.
By day, Dr. Rachel Gunn is a lecturer at Sydney's Macquarie Uni.
Everyone, we're in week 7 now. Portfolio 1 due at the end of this week. Somehow they'll see me something on TV or something on Instagram and they'll go, wait, is this you?
Hip hop is this. 1, 2, 3, 4, hit, and The more relaxed you are, that's what makes it hip hop. Boom.
And eventually you'll make your country mates proud of you. You'll make your country mates proud of you.
Bam. Every time. Or Start out just hitting it. This is what we call popping. Straight.
On behalf of everyone in Australia, you guys are so welcome. This is what we sent to the Olympics. We only send our best, and this is the best that we had. I mean, she is flaunting those moves. She is so confident. I love how much she believes in herself, and I love that she's representing our country. Look at these moves. How can you hate this woman? How?
You start off slow, then you get to the Olympics. Dr. B, thank you so much for coming on the show, man. Before your mojo cracks at us again, tell us about yourself, brother.
It wasn't my mojo. It was that video you waiting to show the entire world, and your computer was saying, "Don't do that." And because you do that, I'm going to crash your computer. So it wasn't me, sir. It was you for that video you just shown. Thank you very much, sir.
Tell us about yourself, man.
All glory to God. My name is Dr. Brantley. I am married. I'm a pastor. I'm a comedian. I'm author of 28 nationally published books. I'm a marriage therapist. I'm chaplain for various departments, and that's who I am.
Okay. Very good, man. I appreciate you coming on to the show, man. You're a busy guy. You got a few podcasts going yourself, right? Or something along those lines, right?
Yes, I have six different podcasts as well, sir. Nothing compared to yours, but yes, I have six. I have to do my six to equal your one, sir. That's how good you are, sir. So, it is what it is.
Okay, man. Okay. So, where your podcast at, man? Tell us what.
So my podcast is on a speaker, Spreaker.com, and it's under Dr. Brantley, and all of my six podcasts are right there. I have podcasts on relationship, podcasts on my radio show. I used to be on Hot 937, two podcasts on theology, and other podcasts as well.
Oh, I didn't know you did one on theology. I didn't know that.
Yes, sir. Please, listening audience, Mr. Hunter owes me a lot, but he don't want to give it up, so that's why he don't know these certain things. But I won't talk about that in Jesus' name. Amen.
All right. Yeah, in Jesus' name, don't talk about that, man.
Okay, I won't talk about that, sir.
All right, man. So I had all this queued up, man. So you got to give me a second here. I deeply, deeply apologize. So now I got to go into my emails and find all this that I had queued up. But I wanted to show a video, and we're going to have a discussion about what it takes to build strong men. So please just give me a minute here to cue it up, because Dr. Brantley strikes again. Either that or it definitely was the gun.
Sir, it was that notorious video that you just showed about breakdancing, sir. That was the issue. See, breakdancing created breakdown computer. That's what happened, sir.
Oh, you might be right about that, man.
I am totally right about that, sir.
So somebody sent me this video that I'm about to put up, and this comes from TikTok. And I told them that I would talk about it on the show, and she agreed with that. Thought it was a good idea to talk about the show and have the guys come on in and talk about it. So I hope that there's some gentlemen in here to talk about this, and we'll get to it right now. So we're talking about what it takes to build strong men, and here we go. You can't hear? Oh man. All right, hold on. Let me try to redo this again here. You heard the audio from the breaking one, right?
Yes, sir.
Is it anyone want to take a guess about whose fault this is? Anyone?
Sir,
Anyone?
Sir, please do not put the blame on me, sir. It is not me. It is not me.
To share audio, share tab or screen instead. Share audio, share a tab or screen instead. Listen, man, this is crazy, man. This is absolutely crazy. Yes, audio from breakdance. Yes, you could hear the audio from the breakdance, but now you can't hear this one.
Correct, sir. Don't stop praying. The Lord is nigh.
Well, I think it's time to start praying, right? I mean, hold on. Let me change. Let me change. Let me change. Yeah, I'm telling you, man. You cannot. You cannot. You
Oh,
cannot.
Lord have mercy. It ain't me, bro. You gotta do right. Do right. God blesses you real good.
All right, we'll try this again. I'm going to try this on a different tab. Share. All right, we'll try this now.
So this is a question I have asked on my live multiple times, and I thought it's time I bring it to video to reach a wider audience, because this is a question I have for a lot of Black men and African men, and I think it's time we start to answer these questions. And before all you red pill bros come at me, don't. I'm just not the type of person to dwell on the perceived flaws of our women without focusing on ours. I pay attention to both sides. And if you know me, I'm not a panderer. I'm definitely not someone to pander to or try to defend people who are abort Black boys, calling me a bullet. No, if you know me, know who I am, the kind of family I come from, the kind of culture I come from, a tremendous self-respect. I'm not one to defend people who have known for hating me. This is not about Black women. This is about Black men. But I need you to answer this question. Are you ready? Now here goes. I want you to picture a scenario, right? Picture a scenario where a bunch of women are all hanging out. There's a white woman, regular white woman. There's a Jewish woman. There's an Arab woman. There's a Chinese woman. There's an Indian woman. There's a Mexican woman, a Filipina, a Black American, and an African woman. So that makes 9 women hanging around, just hanging around, chilling, just drinking, enjoying the day. And then out of nowhere, conversation starts getting a little spicy. Starts getting spicy. The spice levels starts going up, and then out of nowhere, the white woman just gets up and is like, you know what? Y'all not going to do this with me. I'm white. Our men control governments. You're not going to play with me. Everyone's like, what? The Chinese woman gets up and is like, first of all, I'm a Chinese woman. Our men run construction. No, sorry. Our men run manufacturing. If you want to build anything in this world, you need a Chinese man. So watch what you say to me. Everyone's like, okay. And then the Indian girl gets up and is like, first of all, I'm Indian. Our men run tech. If you want tech and if you want anything to work on your phone, you want your laptop, anything to run, you need Indian men. Don't mess with me. Everyone's like, okay, okay. The Mexican woman gets up. She's like, Los Tigres del Nortes. Don't fuck with me. If you need a roof over your head, our men run construction. Don't play with me. Mexican men run construction. You play with me, I'm a holla at Jose, and it's over for you. Everyone's like, okay, okay. The Jewish woman's like, I know you all don't keep your money under your bed, so as long as you got in the bank, watch what you say. Everyone's like, ooh, okay. The Arab woman is like, well, I'm sure you all need gas. Arab men, we control oil. That's us. Don't play with us. Everyone's like, okay, Arab girl. The Filipina is like, okay, okay, I see what you're doing. Well, me and my girls, we have totally taken over the nursing industry. And have you noticed something? Our men are slowly taking over. In 10 years, none of you bitches can get a vaccine without a Filipino man, and we will all be housewives. So, checkmate. Everyone's like, oh, okay. So, Black men, in this scenario, what have we given Black women and African women to brag about or clap back about? Like, what have we given our women to brag about? What aspect of this world, what industry, what important part of infrastructure in this world do Black men control? African men, the entire continent of Africa that belongs to us, what part of it do we control? That's my question. What do we control? And also, before you guys come at me, I know you red pill niggas again. Y'all gonna come at me on some, oh, we out earn Latino man, blah, blah, blah. Fine. Do you remember Ron DeSantis a couple years ago? Was it 2 years ago? Talking all of that shit about Latino men. Did you see what happened? I could just picture the scenario. Hector gets his phone, picks up the phone, calls the Jose, is like, yo, Jose, hey fool, you want to go somewhere? You want to go on a vacation or something? It's like, for vacation, you crazy fool? I got work to. I see what yeah, let's go on that vacation. The Mexican community, the Latino community say, you know what, you want to play with us? We're not going to work. It took 3 days. Ron DeSantis came back out and literally apologized. And it's not spoken about. That is what destroyed his entire political, like that is what destroyed his drive, his up, whatever the hell you want to call it, as a politician. Because he came out hardcore racist and was put in a position where he was forced to apologize to those people. That was it. Ron DeSantis is over. Trump could not pick him. It was over for him. Every group of men in this country, or wherever you want to call it, no, they have an aspect, an important aspect of society that they control. Black men, what do we control?
All right, I'm gonna leave it off right there. Thoughts, opinions. What's up? What's up, Bishop?
To a certain extent, there is something that needs to be talked about in the black race. For us, as Black Americans, we have a rich heritage in Africa, and we also have a rich heritage here in America. But because of issues, it's not really talked about. But for me, I'm a little different because I say to Black men all the time, it's not the work of white men, it's the work of Black men that needs to be done. And the issue of fatherless homes, that's caused by men not being responsible and things of that nature. But I mean, yes, we're known for athletics, as we saw in the Olympics, especially track and field. We're definitely known for music. But for me, the Black man has to go deeper and get in touch with his side of being more of a family man than just a public figure.
What is let's talk about the difficulty in doing exactly what you said. We talk about, and I agree with you. And I just had a conversation with my man Joe, best friend Joe. You know who I'm talking about. Lil Joe.
Yeah.
So just had a conversation with him, and this. I don't want to tell too much about. I don't want to tell too much, but brothers start businesses. Well, let me back up. Let's talk about the history about how we got into this place in the first place. The history about how we got here. And while this is a reason, as you just said, we have to start a new focus, a refocus. And so we can talk about the history of obviously enslavement,
yes, sir.
Obviously Jim Crow,
yes, sir.
Obviously segregation,
yes, sir.
And we were the target, of decades of discrimination, harassment, disenfranchisement, disinvestment.
Yep.
All of these things that have created the very situation that we're dealing with now. Is there a way to overcome not only the physical barriers that we had to jump over, but the mental barriers that we had to jump over even now?
So Dr. Lawrence, people don't forget he is a doctor too. Thank you for his humbleness here. So in 1968, Black Americans did not really have right to vote. The 1968 Civil Rights gave us our fully right to vote. Now, let's not forget, 1861 was when slavery was abolished. And then we have the 13th and the 14th, I believe the 18th Amendment. But it wasn't until 1968 that we finally got the right to vote. All right. So the problem with us in America, and as a therapist, I say it all the time, we are so used to having the foot on our neck that we still act that way. I tell the story about the elephant. The baby elephant is given a small rope around its leg.
Mm.
And so, because they want the elephant to move, whatever, because the elephant's not that strong at the particular time. However, when this elephant is stronger and bigger and a couple of tons, because of the narrative that elephant has a great memory, the elephant will stay put because it remembers the rope as a young elephant. And so for Black Americans, and of course for us, the rope means hanging back in the day. So for a lot of Black Americans, they are so used to the rope around their necks that they still feel in 2024 is still there. To a certain extent, racism will always be where it is. But going forward, if we can make all this money, if we can do all these great things, then it's time for us to go within and be better fathers, and for me, better husbands first, so that we can do a change in our lives. But the problem is, Dr. Lawrence, people are so used to, Black men are so used to the disparity that they don't understand the rope is not there no more, sir. The rope is not there. And because you talk to a Black man, oh, the white man this, white man that, listen, you now have the goals. Right now, you're talking to two doctors. You have two people right now, Black. You are Black, right, Lawrence? Yeah. Who have PhDs. All right. So again, the limit is only those that we put on ourselves.
All right, I agree with you, but I'm gonna give you a little pushback and smoke. You said that the rope isn't there.
Yeah.
They think that it is.
Yeah.
They think that it is.
Yeah.
How do you deal with those who think that it is, right? Because they'll
All
say
right.
it's we need these DEI initiatives. We need what was that the Supreme Court just overturned?
Yeah.
To get into colleges and all. It's
Yeah.
escaped the exact term. They think that the rope is still there. People look at different studies that have been done. White person, two names are given. One's got a white sounding name, one's got a Black sounding name. They're going to call the one with the white sounding name.
I have a simple answer. It's called entrepreneurship. When you are entrepreneur, you're in charge. And if it means that we start in our own community to do this, then so be it. But the entrepreneurship says, you know what? I can start an LLC. I can start what I have. And one thing that we all know about America, when you are good, they will come. They will use your services no matter what. So for a lot of men who feel stuck, the answer is entrepreneurship. Again, you have two people in front of you right now who are entrepreneurs. You have Dr. Lawrence and you have myself, all glory to God, who are entrepreneurs. We got tired of being told we could not do. So again, the answer is entrepreneurship. The answer is getting your LLC, starting your business, and taking it from there.
Mm.
Again, the rope is there, but I don't have to keep it there. I can take it off, start my business, and take it from there.
So now let's talk about, somebody brought up Dr. Joy DeGruy. Are you familiar with her work? Post-traumatic slave syndrome?
No, never.
Okay. She does there's a few of her talks on YouTube. She gives and there's a book here. I have it here somewhere. I can never find anything that I ever looking for. Oh, here it is. Post-traumatic slave syndrome. Dr. Joy DeGruy. Great book. So in that book, she talks in her book and in her talk, she talks about the syndrome of a number of different syndrome, but the main syndrome is this idea of limited self-thinking. Mm-hmm. Exactly what you talked about. Limited self-thinking. She gives the analogy of when you go to a people don't go into banks that much anymore, but she gives the idea of people going into a bank and you see the Black mother is very protective of her child. Don't go over here, don't go over there, don't go. Where the white child is just running all around, right? Playing with the pens, the balls and the pens, and all over the place. And she said that the syndrome comes in because the black mother is very, very disciplinarian, because if that child runs around and is seen as unruly, they will be
Punished.
lynched.
Right.
Right.
Mhm.
It could grow up and be lynched. This child is a problem and needs
Yeah.
to be controlled. So
Yeah.
therefore, she's going to control you. So
Right.
again, this is the rope that we're talking about. This is the rope
Right.
around the elephant's.
Yeah.
You know.
But
So
yeah.
how do so again? Let's attack the mind now. How do
Yeah.
we really get? Is it possible? And I want to not only attack the mind, but I want to talk about collectively. You and I just you rightly said that you and I have achieved a certain level. How do we do that collectively? How do we
Okay.
do that collectively?
We okay. For me, we do that collectively by having these type of forums, by having these type of conversations, to say that yes, we cannot dispel the effects of slavery. So some of my white brothers say, "Well, how come you guys always talk about slavery?" Well, I tell people all the time, "Well, there ain't no Brantleys in Africa. My last name is a constant reminder of slavery." Okay, that is undenied. My white Irish brothers, my Jewish brothers, other non-black brothers, even my Hispanic brothers, their last name represents where they've come from, their culture. My last name, Brantley, your last name, Hunter, usually it's a 90% chance it was a slave master, usually. And so that's why we have to understand, okay, I know what happened, but where are we going from that perspective? Do I understand slavery has affected us? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it's coming to the point of me uh, talking about the problem and fixing the problem. And I think that's where most some black men can find themselves in. Well, I'm going to talk about what happened to us. Absolutely. But now I got to find a solution. Because if I don't find a solution, then I will recreate the problem. Here's the thing: what I know, when black men start doing this deep dive stuff about their emotional issues and scars within themselves and start the healing process, then you'll start seeing a change immediately. Because when the man changes, the family changes immediately. Immediately.
So when we take a look at again, sticking with the idea of collectivity.
Yes.
So a friend of mine started a business.
Okay.
And he was uh started a laundromat.
Okay.
Started a laundromat, and he wanted. You would think that the people on his job would use his services to get their cleaning done. They didn't, and this is a pretty sizable population of black folks.
Yeah.
But white folks would use his service.
Okay. Yeah.
Now,
Go ahead.
let me just continue to frame this out here. So I had a conversation just like what you and I are having right now. So this was a woman who does DEI work. I think it's still on the podcast. It's like one of the really on the Captain Hunter's podcast. This is a different platform, but if anybody goes to Captain Hunter's platform, Captain Hunter's podcast, I think it's still there. So she and I are having a conversation, and I said something that really bothered her. I said, just like the Willie Lynch letter, I didn't say that, I didn't verbalize it like this, but I said there might be something not inherently, but something wrong with us that we need to fix that. Well, what are you talking about? There's something wrong with this. No, I didn't. And it didn't bother her at the time, but she wrote me this long email like, I can't believe I was on your show and this, that, and the other. And you think there's something wrong with black people. I'm not saying there's something physically wrong with this, but I am saying, just like
There's
you
a
talked
mindset.
about, right? Our mindset. And listen, we know, I study psychology. We know that what you do to a parent is reproduced in the children. This is undeniable. So the effects that we're talking about here, we have been trained not to. I'm saying it again. We have been trained not to work with each other. There was a saying in the 50s that we still say today: the white man's ice is colder. Still say that. We have to confront this. So why is it that my friend and everybody I know everybody I know who has a business will tell me a similar story to this, that they started a business and the greatest clientele are people who are not their own skin color.
I will tell you, as a marriage therapist, or glory to God, most of my clientele is black. Okay, there's no doubt about that. However, I'm getting more white, more Hispanic clientele because, all glory to God, my Google reviews are doing well. I think I have close to 25 Google reviews about my business of counseling, so it's growing. So, I think for Afro Americans, again, it comes from the post-slavery trauma during slavery times. Promotion for slaves were either by being the slave master's mistress or by telling on another slave that they were about to run. And so that mentality is still today. Dr. King said so many occasions, he says, my enemies are not just my white racist brothers. He said, my biggest enemies are my own people. So again, this is a mindset that we have to confront and say, you know what? Let me take the rope off and understand, you know what? I'm in charge of my destiny. But for most black men, again, the collective effort is that most black men have seen very bad prototypes. And as you said, Dr. Lawrence, what that child sees is what that child will become. It happens for most of my men in my practice, they all have the same story as I did, is that based on what you saw your father did, you will do every single time because that's your prototype, that's your example. And so that's the glove that you put yourself in. And so unless you have the therapy and the counseling and the woke mentality, you'll do the exact same thing again, and the cycle continues and the cycle continues. Why do most men don't have life insurance? Because their daddy didn't have life insurance. The cycle continues. The cycle continues. Cycle continues. Why do our white brothers are doing well after someone dies? Because they have life insurance. You know how many black men don't have life insurance right now? You know how many people go on GoFundMe for funerals? That's a shame. Why? Because the black man did not have some type of insurance for the next generation.
Okay, I'm gonna get some of these comments here. Thank you so much for the comments. Please keep them coming. If you have a particular question for Dr. B, please make sure that you hit me up or hit him up or hit it in the comments, and I will get to them. It's unfortunately part of our history and our makeup, but we have to address our futures, right? Did you go ahead? You want to say something about that?
So, South Africa was under apartheid. And once they made the change over, the white government sat down and did a confession of their sins to those in the black community in South Africa. America has never done that. Government has never boldly said, you know what we did in transferring over 25 million black Africans over into America and what we did to you guys have never really been addressed. I mean, they talk about reparations, but really it's once they made that change in South Africa, you see the difference in South Africa right now.
Yeah. I think it's deeper than I did want to talk about Africa a little bit later, but I think it's a little bit deeper than that. It's good that there's this reconciliation that goes on and this announcing of it. But even if America never does that, can we get to the point of what this brother was saying, that we need to be able to produce something and take something over? We can't take over something collectively. Listen, there's been so many opportunities for us to stand together, and there's very, very little that we can really kind of look at. Now, let's look at college football, right? College football, there was something that happened. It was some kind of racist incident, and the University of Missouri football team said, we ain't going out there. They stood strong on that. This was 10, 15 years ago.
I remember
we're not doing that.
I remember that.
Right. Now you get after that, there's a show on Hulu right now. It's about it's called Clipped or something like that, about the LA Clippers, and the guy who owned that, I think his name was Don Sterling or something like that. His racist remarks and his girlfriend, don't bring these N-words to my on my team or have them sitting on the seats or whatever he said. Right? So But that was during the playoffs, and that's when the Clippers were doing good. That was their chance to say, listen, we want this guy fired or make him sell the team, and we're not going out on the court.
Yeah.
This is what I'm talking about collectively. It's great that we're talking about entrepreneurship, and I see it in the comment section. It's great that we're talking about that. But entrepreneurship is one person owning it.
All right. So here's my pushback. All right. So this goes back to slavery. A lot of people think that slaves only came from one particular nation. You got to understand that there was infighting among different tribes under different countries that brought the slaves here. So right there is a diversity that was on the slave ships. There were different cultures, there were different tribes, there were different languages that were on the ship. And so when black people say, oh, how come we can't get along? It's not that we can't get along, it's that as diverse as our white brothers are, we are just as diverse. But because of slavery, people think, okay, we all are thinking the same. No, our background is Africa is over 100 different countries. Okay. And so when they did the slave trade down the west coast of Africa, it was all these different races of Africans coming together, being put on ships and shipped over into America. So that's why there was such a people say, well, how come we're different? That's why we're different. It goes back to our culture. There were different tribes. There were different countries.
Should not have slavery and then Jim Crow been a forging, solidifying event that should have said, listen, we all need to stick together. Other people did. The Europeans did the same thing. There was no such thing as white people up until the 1700s. They didn't exist. They were French, they were Italian, they were English, they were German.
Yeah. The white and black came about in the late 1600s when there was a big rebellion in Virginia. And because they had white indentured servants, white indifferent slaves who were predominantly white. And so there was an uprising, and in the uprising, black and white came together who were poor that almost overturned Virginia. And so after they squelled or killed the rebellion, the Virginia people said, listen, we're going to make a distinction between black and white. And that's when the distinction of black and white came into America. A lot of people don't know that because of the rebellion. And so, yes, we should be together. But as you know, Dr. Hunter, what they have done in slavery time was divide and conquer. If we can keep these black people divided among themselves, then we can keep them controlled. Think about it. Mississippi, plantation. 80% of the people on the plantation are black. 20% are white. How come they didn't rebel? How come they didn't do more rebellions, more uprisings? Because they divided and conquer us. And that's the mentality, like you said, that many of us still have today. Exactly. Think about it. 80% of the people on the plantation are black. 20%, if that, are white. How come we didn't rebel? Because they did divide and conquer.
Training forms with education and motivational talks, intellectual conversations to make it make sense to those who seek wisdom and understanding, along with knowledge given. Entrepreneurship equals solutions. Yep. Starting car washes, laundromats. I said my friend started one and what he used them. This is a good question. Big L, did he inquire why blacks didn't use the service? I don't know the answer to that. I wish I did. But in his mind, I do know that in his mind, he said he shouldn't have to do that. I shouldn't have to. He put up flyers around. He did little things, right? The same advertisements. And if other people knew that he had this service and they were using it, what would make me not want to do it? So that's a question that we have to solve.
Yeah.
Do we have to go? I have to go out of my way to ask you if I open up a laundromat, if I open up a restaurant, if I open a barbershop. I own a police consulting business, right? So shouldn't I be the first person that you call if you want a police service, or if you know someone who's being sued for alleged police misconduct, you want somebody to look over the case? Shouldn't I be the first? I gotta specifically tell you that.
well, again, it's about experience for some people. Some people it's about comfortability. But again, it's the mindset that who gives me the best business. For example, I'm not just going to come to you because you're black and you're not giving the best business either. I mean, so we can switch that around. Well, because I'm black, I'm gonna give you subpar business, so you gotta come and support me anyway. No, whoever gives the best. And Lorna is correct about the house and the field. That mentality still works today. Even light skin and dark skin. I mean, most light skinned people were those that were more associated in the house, and more dark skinned people were people who are outside. That is a true reality. And uh, the house Negroes didn't want anyone to franchise because they didn't want to be out in the fields. So again, it was divide and conquer. It was divide and conquer.
Here's another to your point. NYC Chocolate says, I've so often heard the cop out is, oh, black owned companies not going to be up to standards, cost too much, or not have adequate stock, blah, blah, blah. I think sometimes that's an issue. And I try to do the best I can. I try to do the best that I can. I know my friend tried to do the best that he could with his business. I know people try to do the best they can. So we really have to defeat this narrative about ourselves.
Let me go here again. I have nothing against it, so please hear me in context. There are many black people who only go to white churches now, where the pastor is white. But that reciprocation is not the same where you have white people going to a predominantly black church where the preacher is black. Why is that? Because of people's mentality of, well, you know what? Let me go over here, or maybe there'll be some issues that were never discovered, they're never healed from. So I feel more comfortable here. But how are we going to heal this? How are we going to heal this? Is that fine? We got to work together and say, you know what? I'm not going to go based on color. I'm going to go based on content. And that's exactly what Dr. King told us that we should be judged by, not our color. And that goes for black people too as well. I'm going based on the content of the character.
All right, hold on. I'm going to have to get some mods in here. I'm seeing something. We are byword to our enemies, aka, and we get down on your knees and wash my feet. I don't want to. I hope that I'm not dealing with a troll here, right? Answer my question and stop ignoring me. When did God place a woman over a man to be the head of the household, let alone make rules for the man to follow Book of Genesis? All right, listen. We're going to keep this clean. We're going to keep this nice. We're going to keep this right. We'll keep this respectable and all that. If that is towards myself, I didn't see the question. I'm certainly not ignoring you. However, we're talking about what men need to do. We're not talking about what we'll talk about women another time, but we're going to talk about what men need to do.
So this is an example of men not taking responsibility. They want to look at the woman. So that's one of our problems. Well, something going wrong. You know, I'm so used to Big Mama. Let me look for Big Mama. But if I'm looking for Big Mama, that right there spells the point of the man not being in the role, the man not being in what he's supposed to do. So again, what the woman's doing, sir, absolutely. Dr. Hunter, I agree with you. When the man is in the right role and doing right and not cheating and being faithful and doing the right things, then this issue doesn't even come up about a woman over a man at all.
I'm going to continue to be harping on this idea of working together collectively. That is the issue we have to solve. We solved the problem of educating ourselves. We are in college more. There's more people with degrees. We've solved the problem of many individual entrepreneurship type businesses. Right. We solved that issue, but we have the issue we have to solve when that, again, referring to this video here, when we talk about this video, the question that he's answering is, what have we collectively done?
Correct.
Collectively done and or doing? What are we collectively done and or doing, or have the future possibility to do in order to bring about a different level of success for the entirety of the race? And I put out some videos very, very recently, and it's interesting in the comment section about people would say to me, talk about bonnets in public. I know we're not talking about women, but we're talking about bonnets in public, or men not pulling up their pants and things like that. And some of the ladies would say to me in the comment section, well, this doesn't reflect upon me, and they're embarrassing themselves. Is it wrong when people say that we should be thinking as a collective? Do we hear Jewish people say that? Do we hear
No, we
Arab
don't.
people say that?
No,
Asian
we
people
don't.
say that?
No, we don't. No, we don't. So why are you putting that on us? We are individuals. I like fried chicken. I love Popeyes. You may like KFC. So because you like KFC, I should like you. I mean, the diversity is what makes life work. I mean, our bodies represents diversity. Think about it: the lung, the heart, the bile, the low. I mean, the large and small intestine. Our bodies represents diversity, but it works together. So really, we got to get to the point of the collectiveness of what are we doing together to make life better for the world that we're in. And the world that we're in, to me, starts with the family. Uh, uh, there are a lot of black men who want to be community leaders, but I tell them all the time, sir, thank you for wanting to be a community leader, but are you a husband? Are you a good father? Because you can't be this public success and privately you're doing just the very opposite.
So 1968 says we make up 1% of the farmers here in America. Think about that. 1% of our people are farmers here in America. You can't have a nation without any farmers. Speaking of the farmers, I just read not too long ago where the farmers end up getting a big settlement from the government because they were being excluded. And that can never be, as much as we want to talk about the issues that we are plagued with, we cannot ever ignore the fact that what has happened to African Americans in this country, and I want to expand this to the whole diaspora, has been deliberate targeting in order to keep us down and keep us back. And the U.S. government is just now paying something like over $1 billion to all the farmers whose seed wasn't being used and were being excluded and not being part of different government programs. You know, when they would say, we need you to stop growing so much corn, and they would subsidize them and pay them and all that, black farmers were excluded from that and other things. So now the government has to say, yeah, we did it and we're going to pay you. So this has been a targeted attack that we can never forget. So when I hear people saying things like, we're not a monolith and we need to, we're individuals, and that kind of bothers me because whatever you believe, the common theme, the common feature about us all is that we were all subjected to the targeted harassment of African Americans. You brought up reparations. Personally, I don't think we should try to get reparations for slavery. I think we should get reparations for Jim Crow. That's where the problem was. We were locked out of education, locked out of the farming, locked out of housing,
living areas.
Yeah, that caused the current mindset to where we are. We could have broken the cycle if it had not been for that. I mean,
that's a very powerful point because so watch this. One point, you are enslaved. Okay. Second point, when Jim Crow, you are free, but you're still enslaved. To me, that's even worse. Section 1, I'm in slavery, so I know I am limited with what I can do. But if I'm in Jim Crow and I'm saying you are free, but I'm still being treated as if I'm a slave, I think that's even a worse mindset you can put on any person. That's a very good point, Dr. Hunter. Very good point.
Lorna says a man needs to get his stuff together in order to lead a household. If he doesn't, then he will feel emasculated when the woman takes hold and all that. When the woman takes a hold and goes to work, school while pregnant, taking care of bills. We got to talk about this. Right? We talked about this a little bit, right? This whole emasculation type of thing, not leading your household. This is one thing that I've been big on this channel about. Men step up, men become leaders. Talk to them.
Yeah. You cannot. All right. So let me calm myself down. I'm about to get my preach mode here.
We have to get the organ out. We got to get the organ out there.
B3, please. You cannot tell a woman to respect you when you're not respecting her. This misconcept that a woman must give me respect no matter what I do. I'm late. I'm not paying bills. I'm cheating on you. I won't give you money. I won't treat you like a queen, but I want you to make me your king. That cannot happen. And there's a lot of men who have this mindset that I must do whatever I want to do, but my wife must respect me no matter what. Absolutely not. And 1968 can disagree with all he wants. Fine. Thank you very much. But I'm telling you right now, a man is a leader. He is an example. How can a woman follow a man that's not an example? Thank you, Lorna. How can a man tell a woman to do something that he's not an example of? We always talk about people who are fake and people who are not real. Well, when a man tells a woman that I want you to follow me, but you're not being an example of it, you're cheating, you're giving your wife STDs, you're not paying no bills, and yet I said it, and yet you want your wife to follow you, bruh, wake up. How can she follow someone that's taking her down a bad road? However, ladies, when you do find a good man who's loving you, who's faithful to you, who's paying the bills, then that's when, yes, you have that, this is my king, because he's treating you like the queen. I'm gonna give it to him.
To this idea of paying the bills, is that possible, or should the ladies lower their expectations nowadays given the economy?
No. All right, hear me loud and clear. Who decides the sex of the child? Do you know, Dr. Lawrence?
I want to say the man. Yeah, it's the man, right?
Sir,
Yeah, it's the man.
Are absolutely right. We are XY chromosomes. The woman is XX chromosomes. So when that sperm, my favorite subject, hits that egg, if the sperm gives a Y, then the mama will give a boy. If the sperm gives an X, then the mother will give a girl. So that right there says we are in charge. But if you are not doing right, how can a woman do right? These guys that feel no matter what I do, you got to do right by me. Bruh, wake up. I'll take off after this. I'm preaching good here.
Men always want to be the head of the household and they're not leading. How do women follow that?
You can't follow a man who's not doing his responsibility. Now, let me say this, Dr. Hunter. So if a woman makes more than a man, how do you deal with that? Very simple. Bro, you still got to pay some bills. Yeah, she may make more money than you, but she has to know that if there's a knock at the door at 2:00 in the morning, you ain't telling your wife, baby, go check out that noise. Absolutely not. But that's what some men are saying. Well, you know what? There's a danger. Wife, you take care of that. No. But a lot of men don't know how to be fathers, and they especially don't know how to be husbands because they don't have a good role model to understand what it is to be a husband. They don't have a role model. So if you don't have a role model, you're not going to do it. But a lot of men are so egotistic and got this mentality of no matter what I do. Why? Why do they have the mentality, Dr. Hunter? I'll tell you why. That's what their daddy did. Their daddy beat their mother. Their daddy was disrespectful, and yet daddy wanted that respect, and so he hit his little child.
I'm sorry. I got my window open. I'm sorry. I know it's very unprofessional. I don't have a big studio like you. I'm sorry.
So daddy did all this stuff. And so this kid grows up with no matter what happens, food got to be on the table. Even though mama's working 3 jobs and daddy is still playing Nintendo and playing Call for Duty. The devil's a liar.
Call of Duty, man. Oh, never mind. Go ahead. Get my video games right now. I'll play with my video games.
Sir, whatever the video game is, the man is expecting the wife to, follow me. Bruh, how can she follow you when you're not being an example of where you want her to go? Come on now.
What does it take to get that in this day and this time that we're living in?
It takes therapy. It takes therapy. It takes healing.
I grew up in the boys club. I went to the boys club every day. I went to the boys club every day. I went to I went to church. Obviously, there's good, strong men. The Boy Scouts today are now called the Scouts of America, girls and boys. Where are the places to build these men? Where are they at?
It's not too many places. That's why. That's one reason why, Dr. Hunter, you and I did not dye our hair. That's one reason why we didn't, because we got to show these young men we're mentors. We're here. We're here to guide. We're here to give you instructions. But for so many men, they don't see examples. People, hear me loud and clear. If these young men do not see examples, how can they become the men that are needed? You know what I'm saying? I mean, calling your wife the B word. Really? And then if someone calls their daughter the B word, they get upset. Stop. Hold the press. Your son saw you call their mother the B word. And now if someone calls your daughter the B word, you want to get upset. Really now? How can you do that when they're only following what they saw?
There was again, I talked about the bonnets in public, and in the comment section, there was some lady saying, and I've seen this with my own eyes, that boys are now wearing bonnets.
I've seen that.
Public.
I've seen that.
And there's a couple of guys, a couple of smart guys who have been talking about this, and they're saying that a boy, potentially, if he doesn't have a father in his home, is living with his mother, goes to school where he's mostly dominated by teachers, the administrative staff, dominated by women as teachers. Administrative staff are now dominated by ladies. His whole upbringing could be absent of male presence, male masculinity.
This is too easy, Dr. Hunter. Dr. Hunter, you're saying what is true. If the boy doesn't see an example that you stand and not sit when you urinate, that's what he's going to do. I'm sorry. Did I say something wrong?
Go ahead, brother. Go ahead.
Did I say something wrong? Again,
you didn't say nothing wrong, man. You're preaching right. You're talking right.
I'm gonna take an offering later on. That's what I'm saying. But the problem is that, so I'm in my son's life. Dr. Hunter, you're in your son's life. All right. You're in your daughter's life. I'm in my daughter's life. Why? Because I am constantly being that mentor for my sons and my daughter. Okay. But again, there's so many absent-minded. You know how many black people that don't know who their father is? You know how many black people who have fathers who are absent, AWOL? And yet you understand why there's so many issues among the black race. Because again, they're not seeing examples. And that's why their goal is to be a basketball player. The goal is to be a hip hop artist, because that's all they see that black men do. Versus why? Because I don't see it in the home. I mean, come on, Dr. Hunter, you were in the police area. All right, Dr. Hunter, can I ask you a question? I will. I know this is your show, but I'm gonna flip it on you. How many men in jail, in your estimations, did not have good father figures? Is it high or low?
Man. Oh, it's got to be 80% or so. I
rest my case, Dr. Hunter.
Yeah.
I rest my case.
Yeah. Now, while this is not, I didn't think to clip this, but this is not scientific, but there was a guy doing street interviews. Have you seen those street interviews? They walk up to people, just regular people, just walking up to people, asking them about this, that, and the other. So there's a video that was on Instagram that I saw. And he says, put 5 fingers up, right? And every time you ask a question, you're going to raise it down. You're going to put a finger down if it was correct. So he says, the first question is, it was just to people who were the transformers, right? People who, want to be something else. So something about, I forget the first question, but the second question was, my father was not in my life. To all the, not scientific, I understand it. You don't know how many other people didn't go along with it, and they clipped things, and I get it. But it was certainly very telling that a lot of these people didn't have strong fathers in their life.
Let me tell you one of the saddest stories I've ever heard, Dr. Hunter. There was a man who was in prison for life. True story. His son wanted to be so close to him that his son also committed a federal crime to the point that he was in for life. His father is in the yard all of a sudden he looks up and sees his son. He burst, true story, he burst down crying, saying, "Why are you here?" And the son says simply, "I wanted to be close to you, Dad." That's a powerful story, but it happens every day. Black men are only reciprocating and becoming what they saw their fathers did or did not see because the father wasn't there. That's why I'm in my son's life. That's why you're in your son's life.
I became a police officer when I was 22 years old. Now, so the people I grew up with are starting to get into the bad stuff, right? But I'm a police officer now. I'm dealing with people I went to high school with, maybe a year or two after me, right? I know them. 15 years later, their son is there. 15 years, 13, 14, 15 years later, got their kid there. 16 years later, 17 years later.
Dr. Hunter, can you give us an answer why they're there, sir?
Oh, I think you laid it out beautifully.
Okay.
I think you laid it out beautifully.
Okay.
Get to some of these comments here. Most of our sons and grandsons are being influenced by single moms. How do these moms keep themselves from men who just want a woman, but they don't want to step up to the plate?
They got to do better vetting. Stop looking at his muscles. Stop looking at his packet between his legs. Start looking at what's between his ears. How's his thinking? If he has children, how is he treating his children? Is he always blaming the baby mama or the mother of the children? Is he taking responsibility? Now that's a key. Ladies, hear me loud and clear. If a man does not take responsibility, run. Because if he doesn't take responsibility for his actions, he won't take responsibility for you. I'll say that one more time again. If a man does not take responsibility for things he's done wrong, then he won't take responsibility for this relationship that he's in. Every argument that's happened in my house has happened because I was not in my proper role. I take that responsibility because I'm the head. I'm the leader. When I'm doing right, my wife lines up every single time. Why? But she needs the leadership. But again, many of men do not see. You doing this purposely. You riling me up purposely. You're wrong, sir. Many of these men just don't have a good examples of what it is to be good. But like you said, most of these men who now they're retired and now their sons are being police officers. Why? They saw an example.
Let's see here, a couple more things. You were definitely talking truth, talking about the bonnets there. Yeah, that's
bonnets, painting your fingernails.
Oh, you see Dwayne Wade doing that? You got a business doing that? What is up? This dude was in the NBA, man. Oh my god. Oh my god. I did a video before about the boxer opening up handbags and stuff, man. Floyd Mayweather travel. It looks like a big purse. These are masculine men at one time, right? Dwayne Wade and I don't know what's going on. Men, more training venues and motivational speakers are needed in each community. The music industry is affecting our youth souls played over.
Yeah, someone needs to sponsor Dr. Hunter and Dr. Brantley doing a world tour and talking on this subject matter.
Please sponsor that. He's right. Who teaches a boy to stand up to pee? Yeah.
Again, think about it. The boy see his mother sits down, or his mother, don't see it, but he hears the seat, clunk down, and so he thinks, "Oh, I must be doing the same thing."
No, I'm gonna boot this brother, man.
I'm
gonna put you on timeout, man. Timeout, man.
1968.
Yeah, 1968. You gotta chill out, man. You gotta chill out.
He's back in 1968.
I'm about to get some mods here. I mean, send me an email if you want to be a mod, because I can't keep up with this. I don't want to deal with that kind of foolishness. Let's see. Street interviews expose those interviewees as well. Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. Depending which interview it is. Yeah, I'm not saying that they're scientific or anything like that. I'm just saying that sometimes they can show what's going on. So I definitely believe you got to be careful with that.
Yeah.
Let's see.
I mean, so So for single women raising boys, ladies, you got to vet and find mentors for your sons. You got to find, is there a man in the community? Is there a man in my family that my son can hang around and learn from? And also make sure you vet him to make sure that he's not a pedophile as well.
Here's a good. Oh, you definitely got to make sure of that. You got to make sure that people aren't man. You got to. You know, I was listening to a podcast and this brother was saying, man, you know, because he was talking about, you know, creating these mentorships in these speakers and people coming in and mentoring your son, and particularly if you got. And he was saying that, and whoever was interviewing him was saying, "Oh man, you got to make sure that they're, you know, you got to vet them." And he said, shame on the Catholic Church, and shame on these other institutions who have messed it up for these for good men, who, you know, because my mind wouldn't even been thinking about that. Listen, I coached for 10 years. I wasn't thinking about doing this. I'm trying to be a good, solid brother because I know what it was like not to have a role model. Well, I did have role models, but I want to be a stronger role model because I know that some people didn't have it. You know, so I'm coaching for every single year from the time my daughter was about 8 years old till she turned 18. That's 10 years of every single period coaching at our police activity league. That's how important. That's how I took it. And we need that strong male leadership.
We need the men to be there. Again, that's why I have not dyed my hair, and I will not ever dye my hair or my beard, because again, we need men to show and be an example. But again, we got these men who will not take responsibility. I mean, come on, we got to get to a place where, again, some of our black men is always saying, I'm a victim. I'm a victim. When are we going to be saying, you know what? I'm a victor. Stop having that victim mentality, and say, you know what can I do to change? Okay. And these women want these men. I mean, every woman, Dr. Hunter, that I've seen, they always say the same thing. I want my man to lead. A lot of these women had absentee fathers, so they don't know what it is to grab. That's why, brothers, a secret is grabbing your wife's hand when you walk with them. They love it. You know why? Many of these women never had a father grab them by the hand and walk with them. They don't have an idea. But a lot of these women, they want that. They strive for that, right? They really want to be a part of that. You know, I'm talking too much while you're looking. I'm sorry. Let me shut my mouth.
Listen, I can't do it. I was listening though. You're right. I mean, I'm listening. They want a brother who's going to do it. Will these men even listen to great advice? So many can't be told anything. What are your thoughts about that? Getting the, and
there's a lot of narcissism in the black male community, and the young man that died in Atlanta. What's the guy's name? He was pro man and beat up women a lot. What's the guy's name? He died last
in Atlanta. I don't know.
Ladies, you know what I'm talking about. He beat up women like crazy before he died.
He was an athlete or something?
No. He was a commentator. He'd come on and he would undress women verbally and tell them they were no good.
Kevin Samuels.
So many men are Kevin Samuels disciples. Can I tell you something about Kevin Samuels real quick? The brother was divorced twice. Either one or both of his mothers of children had issues with him seeing his children. So stop right there. He already had a bent that he was dealing with. And so people were applauding him, but they didn't understand he was coming from a hurt position. That's why he kept beating up women. That's why he kept telling women they were no good, because he was coming from a hurt position.
So how do we get that done? Talking about the world tour there. You got to like the videos and then share them. Put us on the roster. You know, somebody who wants to have a public speaker, put us on the roster. We'll come. We will. Yeah, we will come.
Again, you have two PhD men, entrepreneurs, and we tell. And as you can see, we tell it like it is.
There's a lot of people going around here getting their kids zipped and becoming Decepticons and Autobots. Trying to find some good. Okay, here's a good question here. Glorious Love says we also have modern women who actually think that fathers in the household are optional and or unnecessary.
And many of those women, Dr. Hunter, grew up without a father. I guarantee you, many of those women grew up without a father, and so they have this mentality: I don't need a man because look at me, I survived.
Just heard Dr. TC make the comment concerning the perception of a rope still being around the neck. If so, why do black males who achieve a modicum of success go and get themselves a non-black mate? You made it. You made it out. You ain't got the rope around your neck. so you go get Maria and Consuela and and Becky and Karen. Why are you doing that?
So that's an issue that, my thing, love is love. I ain't gonna mess with between male and female. But it is a true statement, though, that there are many men. But again, that comes from post-slavery. Why? Because they thought the lighter the woman or the whiter the woman, the more they felt themselves that I'm a better person for that. So that's what happens a lot.
We also have modern men like Nick Cannon trivializing the role of fathers in the household.
Again, something happened to Nick Cannon because, well, again, Nick Cannon comes from a divorced home. Nick Cannon comes from a divorced home. And so his ideologies, of course, I do not agree with at all.
Yeah, I don't either.
I do not agree having 14 kids with several different women. And he said on sometime that I can take all of my kids at the same time. No, you can't, bro, because all different parts of the world. You can't do that, sir.
Let's see. And they grow up to become Kevin Samuels. Talking about your comment about that. I think there's a lot of Kevin Samuels acolyte. I agreed. I just wrote a post for Medium. If anybody's on Medium, I just wrote a post for Medium about Kevin Samuels. I think that he had a lot of good things to say. I agreed with about 85% of what he had to say. I think that his tone could have been toned down a little bit. And remember, before he talked to women, he talked for 3 years to the men, told them to get themselves together, stop, being bums, get yourself together and all that. So I appreciate a lot of.
I just wish that when he did talk, he would talk about the male and female at the same time and not just the female. That's my only comment.
Well, he started off talking to the men. Fix yourself, fix yourself, fix yourself. And then when a woman called in, that's how he blew up. Is a woman called in and he said, well, you're just average, right? So deal with an average man. So that was that. Job creation is critical. Yeah, Hispanic males do require the jobs to hire other Hispanic males. Now they have their own construction companies. Same issue with black lawyers. Are black lawyers hiring other black people? And listen, we get it. But this is the collective thinking that we have to. This is the issue that we have to get to. As far as the collective thinking, and that is the biggest issue that I think that we really need to attack, is the collective thinking, right? If I get hired for a job, I need to be looking out for other people. If I get an opportunity at any business, I need to hire other people who look like me. And I think that if I start a business, then I need to hire people or employ people or get individuals, contractors, and all that. So that's just, I mean, if we're going to save this community. Otherwise, if we're just going to be Americans, we got to be Americans. But we got to make a decision about what we're doing and where we're going. That's my part. So let's see. What about older women grooming younger males to accept them with multiple children with 2 baby dads? Shaking my head, forcing young men to be their provider. All right. Going on for a little bit about this. We need to teach our children speaking proper English, dressing, presenting as a man, critical to the degree and title you choose. So we talked about this. Sum this up, man. Sum this up. First steps. Give us a couple steps here. First steps in creating strong men. Sum it up for us.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir, for having me on your show. I'm honored. I'm privileged to be in the presence of Dr. Hunter. Some of them be laughing, but that is option number one. Men must respect men. There's a lack of respect in our community. If black men could respect more black men and not fight over you stepping on my brand new shoes or X, Y, and Z, that will make a change in our community. But again, we have this mindset, Dr. Hunter, that needs to change. The mindset is I cannot expect a woman to follow me if I'm not taking responsibility for things done in my life. Once you take responsibility, now you come in to be a man. Because what's the definition of a man? The definition of a man is a man that takes responsibility. He doesn't pass the buck. He said, you know what? It starts with me. And once a man starts to do that, you'll see a big change in our society. Big change. But guess what? Many of these young men did not see good prototypes. They did not see good examples. So if you don't see a good example, then you're going to follow that issue down the road as well.
Dr. Umar Johnson has a good idea talking about building a school for young boys in which he takes them away. So it's a school where they spend overnight schools, sleep there overnight, go to class, do what you got to do, but you don't go home. Is that prototype, is that idea in your mind a valid one? Because I truly think that sometimes it's hard to change. It's easier to, cultivate strong young boys than fix broken men.
I like what he's saying in that point, but overall, sometimes his issues about snow bunnies, and then his
I wasn't addressing that. I'm just talking about. I'm talking about the idea of the school.
Hear me out, Dr. Hunter. Hear me out, Dr. Hunter. For me, it's not what you do in public. It's what you do in private. Now, what I've heard, and if it's wrong, please forgive me. Heard he got five different wives. What? Really? To me, as men, it's not the public persona. And yes, I'm gonna be real. Dr. King, all he was great, there were things he did behind closed doors that were wrong. So he's really making sure your private life equals your public life. But there's so many men, Dr. Hunter, who are, I got to have this persona. I got to do this in public, but behind closed doors, Dr. Hunter, they're not living what they're talking. That's a problem. That's not being a man. A man is systematic. He's consistent. What he does in public, he also does in private. And there's many men who do not do the same thing in private. They don't do it. I have a problem with that. How can you tell someone to do X, Y, and Z, but behind closed doors, you do exactly the opposite? I'm sorry, in the church, they call it a hypocrite.
Somebody asked the question I got on here. It sounds great, but could we fund it realistically? I'll tell you exactly how you fund that. Because we did it at the police department. Everybody gives $2 or $3 every week from their paycheck. If you had a whole community doing that, just $2 or $3, you could fund it. And obviously, if your kids go to school, then you probably have to give a little bit more. But it would be a community project, which every school could do it. Also, we got plenty of athletes that have money. They have to be convinced to give their. I don't know why this model that we're talking about should be in every city where there's a major league baseball team, basketball team, or football team. It's easy.
There is more money now being allocated, I think, toward people's sexuality than what it is to be a male and what it is to be a female. So right now.
Oh well, yeah. I mean, I'm not talking about the government doing it. I'm talking about us. I'm talking about us doing it because we have to deal with this, and that's probably why people are not donating as much because they don't see it going anywhere, and he's got these issues going on. So
again, I'm sorry, go Dr. Hunter. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
No, go ahead.
Right. Again, we got to yell it loud and clear. Private and public must equal. It must equal. What I'm doing private is what I am in public. That's one of the disparities in our culture, is that my money erases or covers my points in private. So I heard somebody say you got to separate the message from the messenger. I understand what you're saying, and I'm not perfect at all. Dr. Hunter is, but I'm not perfect at all. However, I am not on this campaign to viol my wife and not keep my vows with my wife. We can't keep saying, well, separate the message from the messenger. We got to stop doing that. We got to stop doing that. Messenger, to the best of your can, be what you talk about. If you're saying I eat nothing but organic food, but I find you in McDonald's, I'm sorry, I'm not going to separate that. I expect you to be the same that you talk about. But there's so many men who won't do that. Whoever you are, sir, be the same way in your home. Because those kids in the home become the adults, become your legacy. Right? And how many great men have had this great legacy, but the generation behind them did zero. You know why they did zero? Because they didn't see an example. They saw it in public, but they didn't see it in private.
All right, we're gonna leave it off there, man. So this is the last question. I want you to advance yourself. What you got coming up? How can people hire you, get you on? And we are both located in Connecticut, but there's such a thing as cars, airplanes, trains. So I don't mind traveling. I am retired, so I can go anywhere at any time and take my stuff with me. So don't be afraid to reach out, and I will certainly come out and do whatever. Dr. Brantley, tell us where we can find you at your service. Do you do online counseling as well? Do you do that?
I do virtual counseling. I have people in Florida, people in California. Yes, I do online counseling. Yes, sir, I do.
Okay. So tell us where we can reach you at.
My website is DRTC.
Hold on, let me.
Yeah. Thank you, Dr. Hunter, for putting that for me. Is www.drtcbrantley.com. drtcbrantley.com. You see all of my counseling services there, my background, all my upcoming comedy shows. You also see my 28 nationally published books. That's my books behind me right there. And also how to reach out and get to me as well.
Okay. I just want to scroll through some of these comments here. Oh, wait, isn't that not on the screen?
No, sir. I don't see my information. I just gave you on the screen, sir.
Yes, I'm sorry. Hold on a second, brother. I'm sorry. I am so sorry, man. I am so sorry.
Thank you, sir.
Dr. TC, right? Dr. TC Brantley. Right?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Yes, sir. All glory to God. All glory to God, sir.
So you got comedy shows coming up. You got what else? So you're pastor of a church, podcast. Tell us where to find your podcast so we can listen to you.
Again, my podcasts are all on Spreaker. That's SPE. Hang on. SPREAKER.com. SPREAKER. And you can look up Real Raw with Dr. B. That's one of them. I like to holler, but I like to apologetic. Classic Hot 937. Explore the Bible with Dr. Brantley, the coach and the counselor. And also books by Dr. B. So those are my 6 podcasts.
And the relationship ones are which ones?
The relationship ones is Real War with Dr. B. People can also Dr. Hunter, if you do this for me too, is go to my TikTok, # Dr. B 2-minute drill, # Dr. B 2-minute drill. I have over 1,600 TikToks that people can. I can see my information, and also
is it spelled out? 2 minutes. It's 2 minutes spelled out. 2 minutes.
Hang on. Let me go here. Yeah, it's # DRB, the number 2, MINDRILL. Again, that's # DRB, the number 2. That's correct, sir. That's correct, sir. Dr. B, and I have, all glory to God, over 1,891 posts on TikTok. All glory to God, of course.
Y'all hit that like button. How many likes do I have here? I only see 13. Please make sure you hit that like button. It's more than 30 people watching. Please make sure. And that's how we grow. You go to his TikTok, you hit the thumbs up, he grows. Share his TikToks, and all that. So make sure we get all that. We are not asking. I am not asking women. This was about men and what we need to do. And I am convinced that we need to change the collective. We need to change the collective mindset of the men. And it's creating individual entrepreneurships, individual businesses, is not going to do it. 30 out of 34. Thank you so much. I can only see 13. I appreciate that. Thank you so much. That's really, really important to hit that like button. That helps with that everything, growth and algorithms and all that kind of stuff too. So I really, really appreciate it. If you have any show ideas to you lovely peoples out there, make sure that you send them to the email on here. Show ideas. I have 2 already that are in the can, already to go. Actually, one is dropping at 5:30 in the morning about health, wellness, and then on Tuesday, one is about sex and sexuality. Dr. B will like that. He likes to talk about sex, right? He likes to talk about sex. So make sure you hit those like buttons.
I have a healthy diet with my lovely wife. Yes, I do. God's almighty. What
right.
God has joined together, let no man put asunder.
All right. Let's see here. Let's see. It's a collective effort. Listen, we gotta change the way that we look, the way that we think. Creating individual companies, individual entrepreneurships is great. But unless we're hiring other people and changing our collective and we're supporting one another. If you own a lawn company, I need to go to you, right? If I need a barber, I need to go to you, right?
Yeah.
So that's the important thing, right?
Yes, sir.
So thank you so much, NYC Chocolate. Thank you so much. I really, really appreciate you guys coming on, taking the time out of your busy schedule to spend your night with us. I am so sorry about the issues that we had at the beginning of the show that I only have with Dr. B. You've been on my show like 5-6 times now, man. And 6 times.
Sir, I've been on your show 5. So maybe your computer is saying maybe have me on regularly so that you won't have these issues. Maybe that's
we'll try that. We'll try that. I'll try to have you on once a month.
That's all I'm saying.
Well, I try to have you on once a month, man. We'll try to make this. We'll try to make this a routine because you have a lot of wisdom. Yeah, you have a lot of wisdom, and I really, really appreciate you coming on here, man.
All glory to God. Sir.
Yes, and we'll leave this off here. We need banks, businesses, jobs, home, grocery stores, gas stations, schools, hospitals, etc., farms as well. We need all that. Yes, we need that. That is the collective mindset. So.
Yes, sir.
All right, ladies and gentlemen, I really, really appreciate it. Make sure you guys hit me an email if you want a show idea, all that. Thank you so much for coming on, and I appreciate it. We will see you guys next week. I'm working on getting somebody else for next week. Much love and peace, everyone. Take care.